Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio NBA Closing Time Show, Wednesday, February 10th. Ian Cameron and Skee Profit ready to break down the Wednesday NBA slate. A very busy Wednesday card, as it always is. Usually we've got 9 games on the schedule. Tonight we start with the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. We've got the Raptors 5-point road favorites, total 234.5 now in this game. It opened 229.5, so we've seen a 5-point move up with this total. The Raptors coming off a very nice road victory against Memphis. And to be honest with you, the Raptors are starting to turn it up a little bit. 4 wins, 4 covers in their last 5 games. You know, they played better basketball. A couple of those good wins. Brooklyn was a nice win. Memphis, they've been playing pretty solid, although they've cooled off a little lately, but 2 good wins there. The only loss was a really tough back-to-back spot against Atlanta following what was a very intense, down to the wire, physically exhausting and demanding game. It takes a lot out of you when you have to guard James Harden and Kyrie Irving and, well, for parts of that game, Kevin Durant Friday night, and Toronto did respond. They didn't have the legs, the energy the next night against Atlanta. But other than that, they played better. We ready to lay 5 with them here in this game? I'm not so sure. Let's give Washington credit. We'll give our man Skee Profit credit too. Like the Wizards the other night against the Chicago Bulls. They got the job done there with a nice 105-101 victory on the road. Sure enough, no Russell Westbrook in that game. No problem for the Washington Wizards. He's out. They play defense. He's out. They win. He's out. They cover. I mean, can we really be that shocked? Can we really be that surprised? Unfortunately, and I'm not joking, you may think this is funny and fun in games. No, unfortunately, though, for the Washington Wizards, they're going to have Russ Westbrook back on the floor tonight, and I'm not sure that's a good thing for the Washington Wizards. I mean, we talked about the numbers the other day. They're like 1-9 and 2-8 straight up in ATS, the last 10 with Westbrook in the game. You look at the point totals they've given up. The last few with Westbrook on the floor, they've given up 119, 128, 134. Without him, they give up 101 on the road to a Bulls team that can score. Like, to me, there's no coincidence here. Westbrook being back probably means the pace goes up, the defense goes down. So I could see why this total's gone up. The Raptors have actually been trending over the total, so it wouldn't have shocked me to see a really high-scoring game. I know Washington's trended under the last few, but with Westbrook back, that's usually good news for pace. Maybe not so good news for the Wizards defensively. Maybe not so good for the Wizards from a point spread standpoint either. So I lean a little to Toronto, but I think I like the over a little bit more. The problem is it's already gone up 5 points, so a lot of the value's been diminished on it. Skee, what's your thoughts here, Raptors and Wizards?
Yeah, Westbrook, the Wizards with Westbrook, 2-12 straight up. Only time you want them is when they play KD. So I'm looking the other way. It's a flat spot for Washington anyway, and Toronto, like you said, they've been playing good lately. They've covered 4 of the last 5, and the number I have for this game is closer to 8. Toronto's been much better offensively than Washington. Defense, they're kind of like the same, but they are a better rebounding team, at least the last 5 games, and they've just been playing a lot better. So I trust Toronto. I know I usually don't want to lay too many points with them, but against this team, I'm in. Give me Toronto. And for the total, I agree with everything you said. The value's probably gone, so I'll just stay away.
Yeah, and I was late to the party with Chris Boucher for the Toronto Raptors, and I finally jumped on the bandwagon the last few games in terms of player props with this guy, rebounds, points, all of that stuff. He's been remarkable for the Toronto Raptors, and he's filled a need for them because they've obviously depleted front court with Gasol and Ibaka departing the team in the offseason, and they didn't have anybody to at least give them any kind of minutes, good production, good defense, rebound the ball consistently in that spot. Chris Boucher's been the guy, and he's been a remarkable. He's just one of a million, like a Fred VanVleet, a couple of years ago. Where did this guy come from? And look at how he's playing. It's almost like deja vu all over again here with Chris Boucher. And you've got to point to Masai Ujiri, the president of operations for the Raptors. You've got to thank Bobby Webster, the general manager, who just got a big extension from the Raptors, for finding guys like this, when you think, geez, where did this guy come from? And he has been just remarkable, sensational for the Raptors, giving them some front court production that they desperately needed. So maybe the numbers are going to start getting up there with Chris Boucher, and Nick Nurse is playing him a lot, but He has been a difference maker for the Raptors, no question. We got a good game here, Indiana, Brooklyn. We've got the Nets 1.5 point home favorites, 235 the total in this game. Brooklyn is they're going to be one of these teams where some games they can play outstanding basketball, beat the Clippers, like they did. And then they have the games where you fall short to Toronto. You have a real tough outing against the Detroit Pistons. So all of a sudden, when you look at this Nets team, it's like feast or famine. They're still trying to work everybody into a cohesive rotation that you can have good chemistry and flow at both ends of the court on a night in and night out basis. And Steve Nash is still clearly, looking to find that right combination, that consistent winning combination, that consistent defensive effort. So we're going to see if Brooklyn can find it here tonight. 3 straight losses now for them to the Pistons, the Sixers, and the Raptors. They're facing an Indiana team that's lost 3 in a row themselves, 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread going into this game. Looks like KD is probable tonight for the Nets. He will suit up, which is good news for them. I got to think, even though the fact this is Indiana with the extra rest, they haven't played since the loss to Utah, which was back on Sunday, and the Nets are playing the second of back-to-backs here. I kind of think Brooklyn might really want to atone for last night. It's only laying a point. They just got to win the game. It's a straight up situation here. I'd lean a little to the Brooklyn side, and certainly from a total side, I'll say this about the Pacers. Their defensive game has kind of not been where we would expect it to be the last few games. They've given up some big points as of late. They've also been trending a little bit over the last few games. We know the Brooklyn overs just have been remarkable. No bargain, obviously. The odds makers aren't asleep here, 235. But for me, it would be a lean to Brooklyn and a lean to the over here. What's your thoughts, Skee, with the Nets hosting the Pacers?
Kevin Durant is not going to be in this one. He's
he's not. Okay.
Yeah, he's probably going to play when they play Golden State on the weekend.
All right.
But and I'll talk from a total perspective. I agree with what you're saying. Brooklyn's went over 18 of 20 games. So we know they're not playing defense. That's why they can't win. They're the last defensive rated team over the last 5 games. The over is 3-2 on no rest. Indiana side, like you said, they've been trending over. They went over 8 of their last 12 games. The over is 6-3 on the road for them. I feel like the number is always short whenever I do a Brooklyn game. Like my number is always like shorter than whatever the total is, and it still flies over. So both teams playing at a top 10 pace and not playing much defense. That's the only way I can go over. And from a side, it's hard. It's extremely hard to go and back the Nets. But I just feel like maybe everybody's going to play the Pacers today, and they've only covered 1 out of their last 6 games. Maybe the Nets come to play today. So I'll lean towards the Nets and the over.
Yeah, and I'll steal some words that you've used in the past on this show. I don't necessarily trust the Pacers against those, well, the thing is Brooklyn's supposed to be an elite team in the Eastern Conference, but they're not playing. They're not defending like it. That's for damn sure right now. But I just think I think there's definitely been some betting market devaluation of the Nets after these last 3 losses. I mean, they're basically straight up win situation, pick them here on their home floor in this game. So I do think there's a little bit of value in this number with Brooklyn. And like I say, I haven't been betting Brooklyn at all, for a long time here. I just think this might be the right spot. Maybe take a chance with Brooklyn, your buy low situation. I think they bring it tonight too after what happened. That was a debacle last night against the Pistons. So, and I'm certainly on board with Skee with the over. Yeah, Durant's out. I don't know where I got that he might be playing tonight because the contact tracing thing means he was automatically not going to play the 3 games following that. The Philly game, the Detroit game, and now tonight. So he won't be eligible to return KD until Friday at the earliest. Next up, Atlanta, Dallas. Dallas 4-point home favorites, 232.5 the total. Thanks to the Dallas Mavericks offense and their defense for getting me off the schneid on Monday's show with the best bet. Finally got a best bet winner on the board with the Minnesota-Dallas game, flying over the total of 226. It got there with plenty of room to spare. Look, for Dallas, we talk about Brooklyn. It's over or pass for me until further notice. It's that same way with this Dallas bunch. I mean, it's just been, we know they're actually offensively shooting the ball a little bit better. They definitely did against Minnesota, but offensively, defensively rather, the Mavericks have just been a disaster. not been able to guard their man, not been able to get anybody's opposing field goal percentage down. Just been a really, really problem area for this Mavericks team defensively. They were better against Minnesota, don't get me wrong, but they still fell asleep at times and let Minnesota right back into the game. If you had Minnesota plus the points the other night against Dallas, Dallas just turns off the defense again. And if you turn off the defense for even 5 minutes in a 48-minute basketball game, you're going to pay the price for it. And all of a sudden, they're in a game that was Minnesota threatening to get right back in it down the stretch, when really they could have put that game away sooner. But that's what you get with teams that are struggling to defend at that end of the basketball court for 48 minutes. And that's what you're getting with Dallas right now. So I'm also in that same camp where it's difficult to lay any points with Dallas. And Atlanta is going to be a hell of a lot tougher challenge than Minnesota going into this game tonight. So I kind of like the Hawks here a little bit, plus the 4. I like the over, of course, as well. Again, I mean, for me, it's just you got to keep going with it until Dallas to step up the game and put their pedal to the floor defensively. And we're still waiting on that. So I like the dog and I like the over here with the Hawks and the Mavs. Skee, where do you stand with this game?
My bad, I was on mute. Dallas, for one, if they lose the rebounding battle, they usually lose the game. And I think they'll probably lose the rebounding battle tonight. And I was on the T-Wolves simply because, I mean, Dallas doesn't deserve to be laying, especially
because they were getting 10. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But they've covered 1 out of their last 10 games. They're 1-8 as a home favorite in general. Atlanta's been better defensively. They've been a better rebounding team. I have the Atlanta as the favorite as far as what I'm looking at. And Atlanta's covered 11 of the last 14 games. That's the way I'd play this one. It would be the Hawks.
Yeah, no argument. Atlanta plus 4. Yeah, that's for me. I won't lay points with this Dallas team right now either. The Clippers taking on the Timberwolves. We've got the Clippers here, 8.5 point road favorites, 225 the total in this one. Timberwolves continue to be a nice little point spread team lately, and I was ripping the Timberwolves pretty good a couple of weeks ago. But it's what you get in the long, in this case, long 72 game, not 82 NBA game regular season. Is you're going to have teams that go through fits and starts, ups and downs, ups and frowns. You got a little bit of that throughout the season for every team. You're going to have your moments where things you're playing a little bit better, and then you're going to have that peak. You're going to have that valley. And right now, Minnesota, at least from a point spread standpoint, they're in a peak right now. They've gone 5-0-1 against the spread their last 6 games, and they've been competitive in defeat in every game. 2-point loss at Cleveland, 3-point loss at San Antonio, 2-point loss at OKC, 5-point loss at Dallas. So, Minnesota's not an easy team to lay points with all of a sudden. However, of all those games, Dallas, OKC twice, San Antonio, Cleveland, are any of those teams the Clippers? Are any of those teams on that level? No, they are not. So we'll see how Minnesota fares here in this one. And you've got the Clippers now not off 1 loss, but 2 losses in a row to Sacramento and Boston. It looks like, Beverly is still out. The Clippers, as we've mentioned, they've trended over the total without Beverly. I wouldn't talk anyone as long as Beverly remains out. He's currently questionable for tonight. Let me see if I've got the latest up to date with him. But right now, game time decision. George is out. PG is out for the Clippers tonight, but Beverly is questionable, could return. So that's one of those situations where I would want to hold off on the over until I get confirmation he's in, because that to me makes a world of difference whether the Clipper game goes over or under. We've talked about this before on this show, how it's such a difference maker pace-wise. Obviously, his defense and the ability for this team to be an over or under team. It's the numbers bear it out. With Beverly, without Beverly, the difference in over-unders with Clippers games is stark. You can definitely tell right away. So there's a chance he's back tonight. If he is back, I'd probably I'd consider maybe laying the points with the Clippers. If he isn't in there, I'd probably come back with the over. So that's probably where I stand. And a lot of these decisions rattling around in my head about this game, Skee, they're dependent on the status of Beverly here tonight. Skee, what's your thoughts with the Clippers and T-Wolves?
Well, for one, Karl Anthony Towns is back in this game. So that's why the line is moving from, 10.5 down to, is it now 8.5?
8.5 now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And kind of like you said. Well, for one, before I forget, I want to talk about the Patrick Beverly thing. And they've been without him already for a little bit, and they're still playing at the sixth slowest pace over the last 5 games. Minnesota's been playing faster, top 10 pace, and Clippers also though been playing no defense. So they were playing slow, but they're giving up points. Take what you want from that. I don't know. I mean, I know without Beverly, you usually expect points. I'm just saying he hasn't been in the lineup to begin with lately. And from a spread perspective, you talked about Minnesota. They've been covering. They're 5-0-1. And I don't want the Clippers without Paul George. Simple. Out of the last 8 games, they've covered 1 without Paul George. And you're expecting them to come in here and win by pretty much double digits. The one thing I will say, it's a flat spot for Minnesota. They're coming off, I think, 5-game road trip, and 5 or more. Flat spot is even better. So it's a game that I didn't get there with, but if I have to play, I probably would still play Minnesota. And if I had to play the total, I'd probably go with the over.
Yeah, I mean, the theory that I always use with a team like Minnesota with the point spread run is don't bet against them until the run ends. Until you see them fail to cover, why stand in their way? And that might be the case here with the Timberwolves going into this game. And like I say, we've got Paul George out. We have Beverly maybe out again, maybe back tonight, but a lot of variables. And still a hefty number, 8.5. I mean, obviously the Clippers are better than Minnesota, but it's showing in the number. They're going to have to win this game. They're going to have to play well, and to your point, without Paul George, if they played well consistently, the LA Clippers, no, they have not. So that's definitely something that would concern you about endorsing the road favorite here. New Orleans and Chicago, we've got the Pelicans, 2.5-point road favorites, 229.5 the total in this game with the Pelicans and the Bulls. I've seen some money come in here on the Bulls here, down to 2.5 in this game. Interesting move, because all of a sudden we're seeing the Pelicans, putting things together, playing some good basketball at this point in time. It's been a nice little stretch of play for New Orleans. Of course, this is another team. They've had their ups, they've had their downs, but they've won 4 straight. They've covered 4 straight. They've had some good opponents during that run. They beat Phoenix, they beat Indiana, beat Memphis, beat Houston for the 4 wins. So you got to say that's a pretty good quartet there. Solid teams, none of them elite, but they're all solid teams for the most part. That the Pelicans beat. Chicago rolls in here off the loss to Washington, 105-101. Now they're catching 2.5 on the road here. That's usually been the point spread range and that road dog roll. It has served, or actually this is a home game for Chicago, my bad. But the underdog roll for Chicago, it served them well. But New Orleans is playing well. I know it's a little bit of an advantage scheduling-wise for the Bulls because they have the extra day. They played Monday. Pelicans rolling into Chi-Town, Windy City after playing Houston last night. So it's a little bit of a situational edge for Chicago. But look, I've been betting the Bulls a lot. I didn't bet them the last game. Good thing. I understand, obviously, situational edge for Chicago, but Pelicans are finding it right now. Lonzo's playing well. Brandon Ingram's just outstanding for this group. Playing well. Hell, Willie Hernan Gomez is hitting threes for this team. All of a sudden, like I saw the other night. So you're getting this Pelicans team. Everybody's playing well offensively. You're seeing them actually dig in a little bit. That was a really, really good defensive second half for them last night against Houston. I was really impressed. They just put that game away and just rolled the victory in the second half. And they did it with defense, which has at times been a little bit of a problem for the Pelicans. So they're playing well, and they're playing well enough. I'm not stepping in front of them tonight. So I'm not involved in this game. What do you think, Skee, with Pelicans Bulls?
The value, in my opinion, has been sucked out of the Bulls for a little bit now. Like, they're covering early in the year when everybody thinks they're just complete garbage and they're healthy, but they're not healthy, and they're not winning. They're not covering. They've where am I here? They're 3-8 at home, and they're still missing Wendell Carter Jr., Markkanen, and Porter. And that's a lot of points missing for the Chicago side. I think that's why we've seen them go under, 4 of their last 5 games. And without those guys in the lineup, I mean, I already really don't trust Chicago with them. Without them, I definitely don't trust them. I know they've been good as a dog. They're 11-5 as a dog or pick 'em, but it hasn't been at home. They're 3-4 as a home dog. And New Orleans, they're 2-1 as a road favorite. They have been playing well. They're 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games. The only reason I haven't bet this one yet is because I've just been watching that line go down, seeing how low can you go before I hop in. So I like the Pelicans. And if I'm playing the total, it's tough because, like I said, Bulls are missing a ton of offense. And the Pelicans just continue to go over now. They figured out they have to play fast in order to have success. But honestly, lately, I'm looking at the pace, and their pace is not that fast. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Chicago, their pace is also not fast. It's tough. The number I have for this game is 227. So I'd probably rather just play New Orleans.
Yeah, not involved in the over here tonight with these two. Not involved in this game at all right now. But yeah, if you like New Orleans, do what Skee's doing. Wait. You've clearly seen a 1 point move or a half point to a 1 point move on Chicago here, down from 3.5 to 2.5. So that's your indicator right there that there's no need to rush to bet New Orleans. You can wait it out, see if you can get the best number possible before tip off. Charlotte taking on Memphis next game. We've got the Grizzlies 3.5 point home favorites, 224 the total in this game. And that was a Grizzly second half for Memphis the other night against Toronto. It just, all of a sudden, Memphis is in complete control of that game early in the second half, and the Raptors just ambush them. They ramp up the defensive prowess, intensity, and the Grizzlies just were completely, their offense was shut down. They did a great job on Ja Morant as well, and that's not all that shocking. Yeah, if you can put the clamps down on Ja Morant, do a pretty good job against him, you have a good chance against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Raptors did just that the other night in that nice road win for them against Memphis. Look, Charlotte is a team that, early in the season, some bumps in the road. I thought Charlotte would be improved. I thought they would be a potential value team from a point spread perspective, except unfortunately, my timing wasn't necessarily all that good here with Charlotte. I was betting them a lot early in the season, Charlotte, and they were struggling. And then I was just in the last, I would say probably 2 weeks, they've started to play better. They've started to win games and cover numbers, and I haven't been on them enough. My timing was screwed up on this team. I missed the boat. I was betting them early in the season when they were struggling. And then when they started to, the winds have changed and the tide started to turn, I wasn't on them enough here these last couple weeks, but they're playing better ball. They're now 5 wins and 2 losses, 5-2 straight up, 6-1-1 or 5-1-1, I should say, against the spread in their last 7 games to go with that 5-2 straight up mark. And the only losses were 7-point loss to the Sixers and, a 17-point loss, blowout loss, but it was to Utah, who are beating everybody right now for the most part. So it's been good basketball for Charlotte. I'm looking to take them here plus the 4. Memphis, or 3.5 now. Memphis, to me, they've cooled off 4 straight losses, both straight up and ATS, struggling defensively again, those games as well. Not in good form, and you can argue Charlotte's in better form right now. So I like getting the points here with the Hornets. Hopefully, my timing has been off, so maybe you want to take Memphis. My timing's been off with this team in terms of picking my spots to bet on them. So maybe for that reason, you take Memphis tonight. But I like Charlotte here, plus the points. What do you think, Skee? Charlotte versus Memphis?
Well, this has been probably the team I've had the best read on, or I feel like I've been most successful with this season. I had somebody reach out and tell me, I think on Twitter, that I have a good read on the Hornets. So I like this team, and I'll help you out, Ian. You want the Hornets as a dog. You want the Hornets when they don't have any rest, because they got a lot of young talent. They're not going to be tired. They're going to play. And you want them right now because they're playing LaMelo Ball, and he's a baller. So you said that the last 2 weeks they've been figuring it out. That seems since around he's been getting more playing time to me. And they've won 5 of their last 7 games. They're 5-1-1 against the spread their last 7, 6-1 against the spread last 7 on the road. And Memphis, they haven't covered 1 game as a home favorite. They're 0-4-1. They're going to be without. They still don't have Jaren Jackson Jr. They don't have Clark. They're without Melton. They're not playing any defense. Charlotte's going to be able to score. Charlotte's offense has been top 10 over the last 5 games. Memphis offense is fine. They don't make a lot of jump shots, but they've been fine offensively. Charlotte's just been better in all categories: offense, defense, rebounding. I think until you get until you get JJJ, until you get Clark back, I don't want to look at this Memphis team. And one more thing, or two more things I want to say about Memphis. They've covered one out of their last 5 games, and it's a spot I usually like to look at. It seems that got embarrassed the last game as a home dog, and I'm expecting them to bounce back. Those teams are 57, 36, and 2. And that would be Memphis. But when you look at those same teams as a favorite this year, they're 1-7 against the spread. So I'm not laying with Memphis. I like Charlotte.
Yeah, they got PJ Washington back because he was injured for. We're both in agreement here, liking Charlotte. But yeah, PJ Washington was out for a couple of games. He's come back. Other than Devontae Graham, this is a fully healthy Hornets team right now. And it's a great point about LaMelo Ball getting the increased court time and minutes a few weeks ago. You're seeing this guy all of a sudden, almost had a triple-double the other night in the win against Houston for this Charlotte team. What do you have? 24 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. Like this guy he's been awesome. He's always been a great passer, Skee. He's shooting the ball now pretty well. And if he's going to have that component to his game going for him too, look out. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, I like his props today. Points, rebounds, assists, whatever you want to look at. I like LaMelo.
Yeah, he's in good form. He's taken advantage of James Borrego, the coach, giving him the added responsibility, added minutes, and he's definitely taken advantage of it. And this team's been a better team for it, clearly, based on the results. Cleveland and Denver, we've got the Nuggets, 9.5-point home favorites here, 219.5 the total in this game. Disappointing second half for Denver against Milwaukee. They had a really good start, pretty good first half overall. And Milwaukee turned it on big time in the fourth quarter. Denver couldn't match it, and they ended up falling short to the Milwaukee Bucks. It's just been an odd season so far for Michael Malone's team. Obviously, we know they're coming off the big Western Conference Finals appearance last year where they lose to the eventual champion LA Lakers. But to see them be as just maddeningly inconsistent, up and down like a yo-yo this year, as they've been, has been frustrating, and they've now lost 3 of their last 4 to San Antonio, the Lakers, the Kings, and then, of course, the loss to Milwaukee the other night. So it's not exactly a team trending in the right direction. Cleveland, on the other hand, we know they've struggled. They've only gotten 2 wins in their last 8 games. They did cover the number, though, in defeat against the Phoenix Suns. 119-113. They just squeaked inside the number. If you had the Cavaliers in that game the other night against the Phoenix Suns, that's a lot of points to be laying with Denver right now, considering their form. And one thing you can say about the Cavaliers is that with the lineup that they can put out there now, with a healthy guard play from Garland and Sexton, who have been banged up and injured at times earlier this season, Okoro and C.D. Osman and Prince in the power forward position, Drummond and Allen in the front and the low post. You've at least got hopefully you've got some bodies there with Drummond and Allen in particular to take care of, or at least try to take care of, the Joker, Nikola Jokic, which is always key when you're playing Denver. No, I'm not in a rush to lay 9.5 with Denver right now. So for me, it would be a look to Cleveland or pass the game. What's your thoughts, Skee, with the Cavaliers taking on the Nuggets here?
And when you see me look off to the side right here, 9 times out of 10, I'm either looking at a line, I'm either looking at a line up, or I'm locking in action. Yeah.
We're locking in action. There you go. I forgot that option.
And that's exactly what I was doing right now on this game, actually. And I'm sorry, Cleveland. Give me 1 second. I just got lost right here.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just mention while you're looking that up, the total's been hammered down in this game. It opened 225. It's 219.5. So we're talking 5.5 point move down on the total here.
Yeah, Cleveland, like you said, hasn't been good on the road. Denver, they haven't been good at home. They've only won, I think they're 5-6 at home. So, and they haven't been playing good lately. They've covered 1 out of their last 5 games. They're 3-4 as a home. Or maybe I don't have that one right, but I think Cleveland can hang in this game. And for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned, and I'm just checking the lineup here. Allen, Drummond, they have a lot of big guys that they can throw at Joker. Denver's going to go as Joker goes, and Denver's not even playing well lately right now. Cavaliers are fairly healthy. I know they got Jamal Murray back. We'll see how he plays in this one. They still don't have Gary Harris. They'll probably get Campazzo as their backup back, but I like Cleveland here. I think they can hang within double digits for a Denver team that's not playing well, and with the matchup for the bigs that can maybe slow Jokic down. And this is another one of those games that that same category. We expect those teams to bounce back after being embarrassed as a home dog, but not as a favorite. So I like Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in Denver. Really disappointed because I thought they had that huge win where they just kicked the living tar out of Utah, about a week or two ago. And I thought that was the springboard to get their season back on track and to get some consistency back in this team and in their game as a group. And it just hasn't happened. It's been the opposite, to be honest with you. They haven't really played all that well since that huge win where they kicked the tar out of Utah in that game and ended the Jazz's winning streak in that game a couple weeks ago. But it's been disappointing. And you're right, Cleveland hung in there with Phoenix, lost by 6. That'll get the job done if you like the Cavs here. Plus the points in this game. Oklahoma City, LA Lakers. Next game on the slate, we've got the Lakers 12-point home favorites, 217 the total. Of course, they same two teams played the other night. Oklahoma City, man, what a tough one because they pretty much led the game start to finish, wire to wire, but Lakers end up rallying in the final minutes, force overtime. And then once that overtime started and you see that just the deflation in the Thunder and the Lakers just grabbing and seizing all the momentum, you're just hoping at that point as someone with a plus the points ticket on OKC, just don't lose by, just don't get annihilated and eviscerated here in the 5-minute overtime session. Thankfully, they didn't. They hung on for the point spread cover in that one, but a tough loss for the Thunder as they went toe-to-toe with the LA Lakers. And they did go toe-to-toe in that game with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They will not be going to the court tonight with him. He is out for this game tonight, so that obviously is going to hurt the cause. That being said, Lakers clearly lollygagged a little bit in that game the other night. Clearly we're, just doing enough to just go through the motions type of performance for most of that game. Is that going to be the Lakers we see tonight? My first thought is maybe coming back to the Thunder here, but without SGA, what do they revert back and just pour all their energy and effort like they did the other night into this one? Also keep in mind, AD did not play the other night for the LA Lakers. And I believe he is going to be back tonight in this game, the rematch here against the Thunder tonight. So we'll have to wait and see. He's got that Achilles issue. He sat out Monday's game. Apparently the latest, I thought for sure he'd be back tonight, but it's still apparently questionable. So still up in the air with Anthony Davis tonight for the Lakers. But, my thought is lean to the Thunder, but, I might not be wanting to tempt fate. I got my OKC cash the other night on Monday. I don't know if I'm going to be in a rush to go back to them here. I'd lean that way, but I'm not sure I'll bet it when it's all said and done. Skee, what do you think here with the Thunder and Lakers part 2?
AD better not play. I'm going to be pissed off if AD's playing. For one, I don't understand why he's been playing all these games anyway. We had the shortest offseason after the finals, and he's known that they need to rest probably him and LeBron. And if you've had Achilles issues this whole time, I don't want to see you on the court for 2 weeks. I don't the Lakers don't need him on the court to win all these games, especially this game tonight. And I'm sorry, that really irritates me just hearing that he's even thinking about probably playing tonight, or they're thinking about playing him. But I usually like OKC on the road. They've been road warriors. And there was one time this year on the road with short rest. That's where they've had extreme success, 29-7 going back to last year and 8-1 this year. But I don't want to trust them without SGA. And I did that before, and I said that before, and they still covered. But not this game. SGA had 30 points the other night when they played the Lakers. And the Lakers can just take everything away from OKC. They're not a good shooting team. And it's tough for me to get there with OKC. But at the same time, like you said, Lakers lollygag. So if the Lakers are going to be focused in this game, in my opinion, I think it would be from from the beginning. I'll probably split up my bet and bet first half and full game on the Lakers, and think they cover both if not they cover one if not both, and that's the way I'll go on this one because OKC has like 8 players available and they don't have, one of them's not Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yes, and that's huge. I mean, he's clearly the most gifted, important offensive player. They at least, thank goodness, have Dort. But yeah, you're looking especially in the point guard position. You're seeing no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, no George Hill. Ty Jerome has been out forever. You're really thin there. You're down to basically in the backcourt tonight. Diallo, Kenrick Williams. Not a whole lot after that. You got Beasley and you got Horford in the front court, and then you got Dort at the small forward spot. But boy, oh boy, you're really shorthanded tonight if you're the Thunder going into this game. That's your worry here. And the Lakers realized they got away with one the other night where they didn't play well and they escaped with the win in overtime. You're right. To your point, you may not see the Lakers look past this team a second time here tonight. Now, this Anthony Davis situation, I love the rant, by the way, from Skee. We need more Skee rants. We had not enough of them on this show. Is this a situation where Anthony Davis is just stubborn? He's just competitive and he wants to be in there, or the team doctors for the Lakers morons and not realizing, the long-term ramifications of Anthony Davis playing a bunch of games during the regular season and then trying to get him in there, or the doctors just being too lenient, saying, oh, you know what, if you really wanted to play, you could, not realizing, hey, it's one regular season game. Think of the long-term process. Or is this falling on Anthony Davis here with maybe his competitive drive saying, hey, I don't want to miss too many games during the regular season. Get me in there. It's one or the other. I think it's either Davis is just not listening to medical advice and saying, I'm playing, to hell with it, or the doctors just aren't, doing their smart medical opinions, not using their noodles and doing the right thing. I think it's more Davis. Davis is probably insistent on trying to play as much as possible.
See, I'm going to disagree. I'm not going to blame Davis because all players want to play unless your name's Kawhi Leonard. So I'm going to go with morons. That's going to be my
moron
answer.
Doctors. Okay.
It's not up to Anthony Davis. It's up to the team and it's up to the coaches. So morons.
To hell with that PhD. You're not using it properly. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, you're right. And you're right. Because of the gravitation of the season that they just came off of last year, where they finished the season in what? October? Late October when that season ended. And now you're turning around and starting in January or late December when the season started, barely 2 months in between. And, he's got a significant, and Achilles is obviously, that thing needs to be functioning if you're going to move around the basketball court well. And yeah, I understand the concerns for sure that you got to be tending to that properly.
It gives me flashbacks of Kobe. Like we were running Kobe into the ground. Well, Mike D'Antoni was running Kobe into the ground. And you could see in those last few games, especially the last one, he's like ailing throughout him, like falling on the ground throughout the game. He's hurt. Like, I don't want that for Anthony Davis.
No. And I understand you and any Lakers fans that are feeling that sort of uneasy feeling, that trepidation that, hey, why are we playing this guy through in these games where it's early in February? We've got like another 2.5, 3 months of the regular season to go. So much basketball ahead. We don't need to push this guy to the max every night here in early February. Next up, final game. We've got Milwaukee and Phoenix. Milwaukee 4.5 point road favorites here. 228 the total in this game. This is a good matchup here. We're gonna find out a lot about Phoenix tonight here, because I know Milwaukee to me is still going to be a team that I don't trust when they're playing like Clippers or Lakers or really cream of the crop, but Phoenix isn't there yet. Phoenix is like a good team. They're not, elite yet, the Suns, by any stretch of the imagination. So this is a game where I could see Milwaukee winning it, kind of like the way they played against Denver the other night, beating the Nuggets 125-112. They started that game awful, and yet they came on strong in their defense. Look, they had this little powwow it was a while back. It was after the Charlotte loss back on January 30th. Since then, we have seen this team put their foot down. Since that Charlotte loss, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread, for the Milwaukee Bucks. So they put the hammer down. They've meant business. They have played better defense, which they talked about following those 2 games where it was a debacle for them losing to the Pelicans and the Hornets on the road, and they gave up 257 points in those 2 games combined. They've been better at that end of the floor since then. They've been obviously scoring at will. It's been impressive. Skee and I are in the same boat where Drew Holiday is just such an upgrade from Eric Bledsoe. Unfortunately, Drew Holiday's still out for the Bucks tonight in this game. Not going to play for them, but they've managed to win games. They've managed to play pretty well these time that they've been without him these last couple of games, because he's been out now for a couple of games now. We'll see. He's one of those COVID-19 situations here with the Bucks right now, which explains why he's out, but everybody else has picked it up. We know what you're going to get from Giannis. It's not delivery, it's DiVincenzo. He's really stepped up for the Milwaukee Bucks in recent games for them as well. So I've been impressed with him as well. Augustine, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis down low in the paint. It's been a good team effort and much better defensively. They've covered 5 straight. They've won 5 straight. I love what the Suns are doing. They're a team that's obviously much improved, getting Chris Paul. Look out when they get Jay Crowder back as well. Playoff time is really when you're going to find out and get the dividends of Chris Paul or of Jay Crowder being on your team. We saw what he did with Miami last year in the bubble in the playoffs. But Milwaukee's in a groove right now, and it's a groove that I'm done trying to go against. So for me, I'm not going to be looking at anything but Milwaukee here from a side perspective. As far as the total goes, total's gone up, believe it or not, 227.5 to 228. They've still gone over in some of these games, Milwaukee, all because they've lit up the scoreboard these last few games. So can kind of understand it. Phoenix is certainly, their last few games, they've scored 119 against Cleveland, 100, 109. They've been more up and down with their totals. So I'm pretty neutral on the total. But Milwaukee's only laying 4, and pretty cheap number maybe considering the way they're playing the last several games since they had that little team meeting to iron out their defensive problems. What do you think, Skee, here with a good one to wrap up the night? Bucks, Suns.
I think that, I'm buying into how Milwaukee's been focused and playing after the meeting. Like you said, 5-0 straight up and against the spread. I think going in by an average of 13 points per game. And I look at the Suns, I'm not quite sure I'm buying the success that they're having lately. They beat Dallas twice, who's been terrible. They lost to New Orleans. They beat Detroit, has the worst record in the league, I believe, and a Boston team who's not playing well, and a Cleveland team who hasn't been playing well. So I'm not going to just take too much out of that just because I see 6-1 against the spread. They're 0-2 as a home dog, and Milwaukee's just been playing better than them offensively, defensively, rebounding, everything. And the way I mostly want to look at this game and attack it to make it make more sense to me, because it's still a little tough without Drew Holiday in there. And we'll see if they get Chris Paul. If Chris Paul is out, Milwaukee's going to destroy him, in my opinion. But I think the total depends on Chris Paul more than the side. But let me finish the side. From the side, what I'm looking at is Milwaukee is 16-1 when the opponent scores less than 116 points. They're 0-7 when an opponent scores more than 119 points. And Phoenix, they're averaging 110 points per game. Milwaukee's giving up 111.5. The team total for Phoenix is only 111. Phoenix playing at that second slowest pace in the league. I don't see them getting to 116. So I think the Bucks are going to win here. And I think if they win, when they win, they usually win by margin. The number I have for the game is 7. So that's the way I look there. And for the total, I think it depends on Chris Paul. If Chris Paul's in, we know he's going to dribble the air out the ball until the clock is on 0. And you're probably good with an under there. And if he's out, you might see a little more points than usual.
All right, there we go. If he's out, maybe over. If he's in, maybe under with this one. And Skee like in Milwaukee, -4, 4.5. And as Preston says in the chat, yes, that is our live betting game of the night on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. They did a good job last night. Boston Nick, Jacksonville Zoe with the play-by-play last night. I actually tuned in to their West Virginia, Texas Tech live betting stream in the college basketball ranks last night. his play-by-play was great. I mean, you talk about a guy that came ready to play. Connor Mack is telling me that this guy had notes before the game. He studied up on stats on all these players. He's like prepping for this like it's an actual broadcaster job on ESPN or something. And he's doing the live stream last night on this channel and doing the play-by-play of that West Virginia, Texas Tech game. I was impressed. Let's get this guy's resume sent out to ESPN, CBS, Fox, TNT, you name it. Let's get this guy. Let's get him a job here on television. If you're going to bring that kind of play-by-play quality, I mean, Jacksonville Zoe, props to you. Great job with the play-by-play on that West Virginia Texas Tech live betting show on Pub Sports Radio last night. So the crew is going to be back with another one for this Phoenix Milwaukee NBA game tonight. So make sure you check that out tonight. On the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. Live bets, play-by-play of the game, and it'll be a good one, Bucks versus Suns. I'm definitely looking forward to it to wrap up the night in NBA action. All right, that is the Wednesday NBA card. We've gotten you through 9 games on the NBA slate, all 9 games. Now we're ready to wrap it up for Best Bet, and hopefully now we busted the slump. I think it was 4 or 5 shows in a row. I dropped my best bet on this show, and we finally got off the schneid with a win with Minnesota Dallas over on Monday night. Hopefully we got another one tonight. Skee, we'll start with you. Where are you going for a best bet tonight?
I'll take a team that I know you're not going to take because of reasons you've mentioned before. And that's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't think the Nuggets, the way that they've been playing, should be favored by double digits. So I know Cleveland hasn't been good on the road, but that's the way I'm looking here.
All right, Cleveland plus 9.5 against Denver. Best bet for a Skee Profit in this one. For my best bet, I'm going back and forth. This is a tough one because there's some that I like, and it's tough to narrow it down. I think I've narrowed it down to 2 sides. I'm just trying to see which one I like more, one or two. One of these road dogs, another one, not Cleveland, but another road dog that I'm looking at. Let's do it with Charlotte. Let's do it with the Hornets. It was them or the Hawks I was looking at here. I'm going to go with Charlotte here, plus 3.5 against Memphis. I know Memphis might be desperate. You know, they've lost 4 in a row. They don't want to make it 5, but you can't argue that current form-wise, Memphis should be placed out there at 3.5, 4-point favorites in this game. Not the way Charlotte's playing. We've referenced the LaMelo Ball uptick in minutes and how this team has looked like a different team since then. He's shooting the ball with great confidence right now. We know he's an assist machine. He's already one of the better passers, and he's going to only get better in the NBA from that spot, from that point guard position. So I like Charlotte here, plus 3.5 against Memphis. That'll be my best bet for Wednesday, February 10th on the NBA Closing Time Show. And that'll wrap things up for this edition. Thanks to everyone in the chat. We appreciate it. Over 100 live viewers. We appreciate that immensely. Keep tuning in. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. Tell everyone you know that we have great content here on Pub Sports Radio so we can keep growing the channel. It's been great growth for the channel the last 6 months to a year. We want to keep it going. For Skee Profit, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the NBA action. Enjoy the games, and good luck. We'll see you again tomorrow, or we'll see you again Friday, I should say, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, for the next edition of the NBA Closing Time Show right here